Hello everybody and welcome to January-February issue of Is Your Ex Coming Back? Just really quick note, like, don't freak out. You don't want to ex back. Do not watch this. It's not for you. This is simply the series for people who still feel connection with someone. They're in on and off relationship. They're not able to break the bones. I am going to, if you're the first time here, really give you a quick review of the spread that I'm doing for this situation. If you have been here before, you know the spread, then just like look, I think I'm going to put down here or which time stamp to go to, and just you go directly in the reading. So for this reading I am actually designating 7 cards, and they are significators, which means just like a title of a book, each category is going to tell me a little bit about that relationship. For the first card, the Magician, it's pretty much going to tell me if this relationship is starter. So I'll actually give the more detailed explanations for those of you who ordered the spread, which is still on the special for $50 if you really want to find about your relationship. The second card, Temperance Reversed, is really talking about things that need to be glued in a relationship. Then these are 2 significators. Either of them can be you, and it's kind of the energy and maybe communication in between. Now, what is basically the karmic intervention? What basically karma things that you need to work on in this time, and what should happen? And also the next steps in the relationship. So hopefully this kind of like gave you a really quick overview. I didn't kind of like spend too much time about that, so let's just jump straight in the readings. Hi Taurus, and welcome to your January-February Is Your Ex Coming Back? So let me first of all tell you what you have. The Emperor reversed, 10 of Wands reversed, 6 of Swords, 7 of Cups, 9 of Wands, Queen of Swords, and the Empress reversed. These 2 major arcana cards, very strong cards. They actually, to me, really indicates a couple. So you're probably feeling that the person you're inquiring is a very somebody who left a really strong mark on you. Somebody who you thought, well, this is it. I see myself and I see nobody else. That is now the biggest hurdle to overcome, because this tells me you are not with this person. This tells me also that feeling of that connection is like still very present. It also tells me that it was a situation that actually came to the point of being some kind of like a burden. Like the Empress is actually Taurus as well. She actually represents Venus, and Venus is basically a sweetheart of Taurus and Libra. So I absolutely see that over here. Maybe you are, like, involved in some Libra or Aquarius, or possibly even Aries that I see over here, just out of the gate. Now, this also is really interesting to me, that we have this zest. There's like still almost like a spark, you know, you see that fire, and you know, like when they say just like you have to put some kind of like water on it, because I can still kind of like see the little spark in it, and that's sometimes all it takes to kind of like revive that, to kind of like go back and to kind of like absolutely feel that, hey, you know, we are starting to waltz all over again. The 10 of Wands is falling in the category of what needs repair. So this really means that maybe that was a situation about secrets. Maybe it was a situation about, you know, that something got a big burden. Maybe you really wanted something badly and you have lost sight of the process. You know, like, they say destination, I just really want to get there. But the truth is, like, that relationships are not destination. It's not like you're not heading toward marriage, you're not heading toward engagement. Every day the process is what is really important. And I'm seeing over here that you're finally kind of like, it's hitting you. You're fully understanding this. With this card, which is Bridge over troubled waters, look at that turbulent waters, and look at that nice and still over here. We still don't know what's happening on the other side, but there's like certainly attitude. I need to get away. I just need to get away. Even though she has all of these swords really ahead of you, ahead of her. So this is really not the best way to carry your swords, kind of like put them right into the bottom of the boat, right? Because everything can start seeping in over here. But obviously there are certain issues that have been very, very important when it came to relationship. And maybe it is about options, what to do, how to go about it. Maybe it is simply sitting down and deciding, okay, you know, are we kind of like dancing the same tune, or are we able to support each other? How to go about that? It really tells me, this particular first line, that I have two partners who are actually bruised, who are wondering, how did we get here? Everything started so well. How did we even get here? How is that even possible, right? But then in a karmic kind of part, I'm seeing this Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is really saying back to the basics. She knows, okay, certain bricks have been put in the wrong place and now the whole structure is falling apart. So she's saying, okay, if we are to do that again, certain things need to be fixed, and I have to start with fixing my own understanding and my own comprehension of this situation. So let's see where this is heading. The situation is actually creating some of you might have issues with sleeping. Maybe there is an anxiety. I call this card wash machine brain. And the reason I call it wash machine brain is like, you know, these situations where we keep thinking and it upsets us. And we know, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be thinking about it because I'm going to get upset. But you can't. It's like the tune that kind of comes in your head and you hate it, but you kind of like whistle it all day long. So that's kind of like that repetitive kind of a thing of trying to find a solution, but always ending up in the same kind of like dead ends, and hence it kind of like feels very constricted, and hence it feels like I don't know how to get out of this. But you guys are really, really close. I can see here there are issues on a domestic front. Because the Ten of Pentacles really talks about what kind of family acceptance it is. You being an earth sign, this is really important. This is falling over here that something is out of whack. Maybe, you know, you feel your family is falling apart. Maybe you feel your king, your emperor is no longer there. Or this honestly could even feel that both of you feel used and abused. And I'm completely, it's like a mirror on both sides, but I really think that you're feeling a little bit more disturbed in a sense with how you process the situation. The Moon card means clearly that maybe you were trying to get some clarity. As I said, it was like really hard to focus on one thing and one thing only, and instead it was like a whole bunch of things always jumping up, and maybe you settle on one thing and somebody always sidetrack you. You know, like, I mean, when you ask one question and somebody answers another question, and it's always kind of like trying to catch all these little threads that are going on. It looks like this is like really multi-layered situation that I see over here. Now look at that, they're coming through as the devil, which could mean that there is like another person involved in the situation. And it could mean that certain kind of like solutions are not as easy. It could be tears, it could be anxiety, it could be sleepless nights, it could be wondering, where are we going from, how do we go from here? Maybe you're feeling that they're not willing to, maybe you're heading towards something that you feel if you do something they are going to come to you, or things are going to resolve, but that's not the case. I really don't like seeing the devil card in their category. That usually tells me that they either feel that they are in such a power position that they can pull these strings, right? Then they're absolutely not interested in building anything. They're like really into it, and I really have to tell you, for themselves. But they also feel so sorry about themselves. It is like so weird. Honestly, it is like me, and me, and me and myself that I really see over here on the side. On the other hand, you are mulling it over. It is like all over your head. What do I do? How is this ending? Is this ever going to kind of like really get better? King of Wands, when it reverses, remember my little unicorn over here that kind of like did get broken, right? So it's like somebody who is so much fun, but then, you know, they show their real colors. And you know, these real colors are not fun to be around, because just as fun as this person in one direction, this is how much ugly this person is in the other direction. Whenever something happens that doesn't really go their way, it is like totally narcissistic, totally selfish attitude over here, as I told you. Like, I mean, literally this reading, which I'm not giving titles, should be called Me, Myself, and Everything Mine, because this is simply about them. What is in it for me? But it's not even in a sense that, you know, like usually when you get married, to some extent it has to be something like that basically comes on a table. But this is like more or less living in a moment, for the moment, and not really caring much about what's happening, because this is really telling me that, and I really think it's you guys, do not try to think, because they're kind of sending you off these signals, maybe, maybe not. You're not getting a definite thing, even though karma is saying that maybe some kind of like cutting down to the basics is needed. But I really think they kind of like lure you. Devil has that luring energy. It's very also sexy energy. You might find that you're very kind of like seduced, you know, seduction. They say the right thing, and this King of Wands is so much fun. They kind of like chase you, they tell you kind of like great things, and then they vanish. They're all of a sudden not replying your text, and you're left worried and wondering. So let's see more. And I don't like this card. This is my win or lose card. And what is win or lose? When you have win or lose, it's kind of like, almost looks like you're making a decision. There's like something you need, clarity for you. Maybe even moving out if you're living together, just kind of like clear your head. Maybe even just let me step outside of the situation and see where it's going. Instead, you are basically being captured in the world they have created, this world full of deceptions. You are maybe even trying to spy on them, and somebody is clearly spying over here. And this is not basics of relationship. This is not basic of friendship. This looks like you're wondering who is this other person they're with. Maybe simply, oh my gosh, they're more than willing to be there sexually for you, but and they don't want to be alone. This is their problem. It's not that they want to be with you, they don't want to be alone. You see the difference? So you may think when they are with you, this is kind of like very positive, but there is like something about them. And look at all this 9 and 9 and 9 and 9. And you know what 9 means? 9 means, guys, this is the end of the road. And you are also having these 2 6s, which definitely tells me there is like a soulmate connection. But the soulmate connection got really stripped down to the really basics, right? You know, maybe a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there is another 9. You just cannot miss it. This is clearly asking you guys to be wise. This is clearly asking you not to take messages for granted, and not to take them at face value either. That you really need to hear and watch their actions. Hear the words and watch the actions. If the word says to you, I'll call you tomorrow, and they don't call you tomorrow, the action didn't follow. They are not kind of like linking together. And this is going to be the path for you to try to free yourself from that pressure. Because I really feel that some of you are really almost like trying to put your claws into the words, but oh my gosh, they're like really doing whatever they want to do. And this, for you Taurus, is not a really good feeling. You're losing an essence of who you are. You're feeling you're losing this battle. But the problem, the biggest problem here, is that you're losing yourself. And I really would not recommend that. Guys, when you start feeling discomfort, when you start feeling jealousy, when you start feeling turbulence, you have to ask yourself, why do I keep going down this path? I really would advise you. So guys, this is a general reading, and hopefully this is really none of your life. I can really check your own X reading. It is still on special for 50. You can check me on my website tarot.ca. In the meantime, you can order my annual tarot scopes and kind of like see how the situation will resolve throughout the year. That certainly helps. And if you want a dose of tarot daily or weekly, make sure that you show up on my live or go on my Facebook and Instagram and you can get your daily tarot. And Taurus, I would like to know what the heck is going on. This is really not typical for you, that you're so kind of like down. I really hope that this is the case of winter blues, that you kind of like maybe are falling in some kind of depression, which is not only the situation but also maybe lack of the sun. So just make sure you are eating nutritiously and make sure that you give yourself the space where you're a little bit out of the situation to get a better perspective. Thank you so much for listening and staying until the end. And if you kind of like resonated with this, please subscribe so that way you can be invited to the future videos. All the best. You know that I love you.